Hey, I doing this mostly as an apology because I didn't get any video prepared for Sunday. And those of you who know and have been following me, I have had one or two every week for the past several years, at least five. Um, but sometimes things in life kind of prevent you from doing that, and my health hasn't exactly been kind to me the past couple of weeks. So um, we are going to do a live stream, and I needed to do it anyway because, again, those of you who followed me before know that, especially with the Blood Witch series, there are different aspects of it that require kind of a break because you don't have the book in front of you unless you went and bought Olganza or the Blood Witch. That you would have to go back and hey mountains, hey Alan at co.ag, let's go ahead and say hello to everybody. Hey Chris, Broken Entertainment, RC comes and goes, and Brandon's there. I had asked if RC or Broken Entertainment wanted on because they're both writers, but that's okay, don't need anybody on, it will just be a few minutes. But like I was saying, with Olganza and the Blood Witch, both of those stories are such that sometimes, since if you don't have the book in front of you, it's important to go back and review it for people. So, like if you did have the book, you can actually. Yeah, I would, but I'm watching the werewolf. Oh yeah, you got your thing on Discord. Gotcha. Um, but there is a benefit for reviewing, so you can keep track of the story, keep track of where people are, what things are happening. And I did that for both the Blood Witch and Olganza. Didn't need to do it for Andros. And the reason being is Andros is more of a, you've heard me say it before, it's more of a environmental, story-wise Bible. It's something that you can go to know what the people are like more in detail, what the creatures are like more in detail, the history of their world, how magic came in, those type of things. So it really didn't need anything to be caught up on. You could pick up anywhere in the book and be okay. But with Olganza and the Blood Witch, it covers a lot of different territories, a lot, and there's going to be even more names that are going to hit with Ellie. So I wanted to get you guys caught up. Uh, I have the very basic form of StreamYards. I don't have all the bells and whistles, and I don't know how to use it very well. So what I'm going to try and do is share some things with you without getting us stuck too far into the mirrored universe that can happen when we. Hey, Zax, how you doing? If you want on too, Zax, you're welcome. But I'm just doing overview of books, so um, it's not that big of a deal. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you one of the. It's a very cartoonish type map, and when I share screen, it's difficult for me to do this because I don't know how to do it. So I'll just do what I can do. Um, Let me find which one I'm looking at. Okay, map 2. All right. This here is, and you can see I have thousands of pictures, but those are some of the pictures from the archive that on the very bottom of the little scroll is pictures from stuff from the Olganza. And this is a small portion of the continent of where the Olganza took place. And just to highlight a little bit, over here is Webben on the far left, where you see the two little blue and white crystals there, and the Great Gate. These are all things that are in the story. In the middle is a place called Cyrodiil. I'll focus in on that. This is in most of the books, and it was a smaller city of Andros, or Ag at the time. And Ebonburg is what started it off. Let me move. If the map is scrolling for you guys, Um, yeah, it's all good. Zach, and hi, Laura. Um, Basically, what had happened for Ag, it was a small country here, and they had joined forces with this Dawson up here on the upper left there. And so they were a growing country. This one here, Centon, the big black one on the top, and Dundrif decided they were going to take out Ag. They started by burning out their food. They destroyed Knowles, which was quite an impressive place at the time. And this is where the Oganzas took off. That's where the story started. But this is their basic world. And we had some stories about how the Trodaire family got into place. In my books, at least for the Blood Witch, the way people name their families is based on who is the most influential or most renowned, not by who the father is. So for the Trodaire, the father was Malcolm Trodaire, the mother was Hannah Olganza. Some of the family took on dad's name, some of the family took on mom's name because he was the king and she was a very powerful magic user. And they got all wiped out, all of them except for one. So the Olganza ended with the Book of Olganza. You guys could read it. I'm not really giving away anything too much. It's not ruining the story. But this is their world. Now I'm going to show you another one. The next image is of more what is happening with, it's not quite completely up to date, but it is closer to Ellie's time than what we have with the other one. A version of this is actually in the Blood Witch, and I have it broken down into segments. This is almost the entire continent. It doesn't get down into the southern part where the Braxton Nation is, which is as big as Ag and quite a terrible place. I'm going to zoom in. You can see Centon is now just over the several hundred years. It's reduced to just a little city. Cerridon's still there. Here's Frankfurt. In Ellie, South Tower is not here. This is a new place. Andros is, you learn about that in the Book of Andros. South Tower is actually in between Cerridon and Frankfurt. Over here is Old Dundrif. You can see a lot of ruins. There's Claxton. There's a reason for those ruins. Ellie gets into some of that story. Up here, this is the Trodaire Keep East in the Blood Witch. You will hear about that. Right now in Ellie, this is the hidden fortress that they find, that the king has found. That's where we're up to date now. So Alphys and a few of his men are there. Marnie, Pratt, Kendall, Ellie, they're all up here. This is the capital, Wellsprings. They're on this little island right now. Mir comes into play a little bit. We've already talked about that. We are going to get back to Webben over here eventually. And a little bit mention of Mountainfall, just a little bit. Dawson and over here, the land of the Kelly, that big island there, we're not really, Ellie's story doesn't really get into that much. So we're not going to avoid that. But basically, this is the world, more of what it looks like in Ellie's terms. Like I said, these ruins, this city of Mirrodin does not exist at this time. It will when Veronica in the Blood Witch shows up. And those of you who have read the Blood Witch, you'll know how important that little teeny city is. It was has a massive influence on Veronica's personality, some things that she has to go through. And then, of course, Claxton down here, which is a bigger focal point as well. Andros comes into play again, the only two times that we get into it. Let me see the chat. Did I draw it from Laura? No, I didn't. What this is, there's all kinds of different map creators online that you can get. This is one of those. I don't remember the exact name. It's like Weatherbees or something. I can't remember the exact name. It gives you all the tools to do it. And again, this is not exactly the same as the one that's in the Blood Witch. but it's pretty close. It gives you the topography, like the huge mountain ranges up here. Sorry about my mouse clicking so loud. Brine, which is one city that exists throughout all of the Blood Witch story. This will be there even in the thousands of years ahead when we get to Legends of the Trodaire, when we're with Heather and Lake. Um, some of these other cities are, for one reason or another, aren't going to be there. It's like time. You go to any place in the world, um, and you'll find that over time, cities move, things get destroyed. You have natural disasters, you have wars, you have various different things, and hence all the different ruins that are over around Dundrif. And why Senton is such a small place as compared to the previous map. So that is map wise what is going on. Yeah, Zax, Purple Valkyrie, and she has read a lot of my stuff and given me some hints since she's very well versed in a lot of books, especially I think her biggest thing is Discworld. Um, but a lot of those books will have maps. I don't have one in the Oganza, but it is in um, the Blood Witch. And the thing about the way these books are going to end up is when they're all done, each one will be a reference to the other in some regard. They'll all look similar. When you put them on the bookshelf and they're in order, the binding actually creates an image. My artist has already got that worked out. So they're all going to be a resource for each other. It's one big universe that spans several thousand years. Um, Yeah, I agree. But Olganza doesn't have one. Andros doesn't need one. I'm debating whether or not I'm going to put one in Ellie. I might. I might just have people referring back to the Blood Witch one because it takes up 5 different pages. I have the main map and then it's broken down into several others. And I always try and add some type of artwork to it. Um, for Andros, I have a dragon, but I'm working on whether or not I have several artists in mind. Everything that I've had so far has been fan mail, or not fan mail, fan art. But um, this one I kind of want to go back to, and I haven't decided yet. I love, 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 love his art style. You guys know Xavius. And for Olganza, let me see if I could pull that up real quick. In the Olganza, there is a picture. You guys have seen it before too. I'm sure you have, of Hannah, and he did that. I'll have that for you in just a second, pulling it up. But his art style, I think, would be very. Oh, geez, I just closed the wrong one. Sorry. Would be very um, applicable for the type of image that I'm thinking of. Let's see. Share screen again so you could see Hannah Oganzo. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, this is Hannah, and this was done by Xavius. And this is in the back page of Olganza. And the reason why Olganza is using white instead of cream colored pages is so that it's all for this image. This is my favorite character out of any of them that I've ever written. And she's not huge in the story, but she's huge enough. But you can see a style, and for the dragon, and those of you who've been around and heard Andros, you know of Vahanoi. It looks like he's a mix between a dragon and an owl, though he's, 30 or let me see, 15 stories high. He's massive. All the dragons are huge. Of the 6 dragons that are alive, they're all massive. But he's a white owl mixed with a reptile. So he knows how to draw dragons very, very. Oh, look, there's purple. Speaking of my incredible helper. So Vahanoi he's got some owl features. You can tell he's reptilian. He's got massive wings, but on the borders of the wings, there's white feathers. He has more of an owl face than a dragon face. So I'm contemplating very heavily about talking with Xavius and see if he can draw that for me. If any of you have ever seen his dragons, you will know exactly why. He's a brilliant artist, and I love supporting people who do good work. So that's what I'm seriously considering. Um, but let's get back to. Hey, Haster, thank you for showing up. I still need to get back with you about that thing on the 30th. For those of you who don't know, another little catch up. I'm not going to do this for very much longer. This is going to be added actually in with the playlist for Ellie so that people will have a chance to look at the maps and get caught up. But, Haster, I need to get with you about the 30th. On the 30th of this October at 9 Central, I'm doing several different authors are joining me to share scary stories. Some are reading from existing stories. Some are sharing their own. I will have some of my own. Right now, Script Doctor's planning on being there. Those of you know Writing Raven, RC, who you see in the chat, he's a fantastic horror writer, will be there. Loki's going to be sharing. So if you guys out in Europe, sorry, it's going to be quite late for you. You can catch the next day. But at 9 Central US, we're going to be doing that. And Haster, that invite is still there if you decide whether or not you're going to help out. Because Haster is a good writer too. But getting back to Ellie, where we are now, those of you who know the Blood Witch story know what Ellie's going to have to go through. There's no secret. She is going to be faced with some really hard decisions, and it is going to change the entire scope of the entire continent because of what she does. So just as an update, eventually she's going to have to leave Wellsprings. It's no surprise there for those of you who know the stories. It's coming. Her bit in politics is going to be huge, and all of you know what a Blood Witch is by now. And yeah, she will have to become a Blood Witch again for some reason, but I'm not. It's no surprise. I'm not giving anything away because you guys have, if you've been following along, you're going to figure that out anyway. If there's a Blood Witch in the story, there's going to be a lot of blood, and there's going to be a lot of blood. But getting you caught up, everything's really basically at this point. I'm setting the ground for politics. Ellie's story is more of a political story than anything else because, her mom is off at her homeland in the islands, and the political intrigue there is about ready to take off. Her mom, Gunnel, is going to be facing some difficult troubles. We are going to leave Alphys for a little while he's in the East Troder Keep, which you guys know is the hidden ancient castle right now. We're just going to leave him alone, let him sit for a while. So we're going to stay away from his story for a little bit. And we're going to stick mostly with Gunnel, with Pratt, and with Marnie, who is the High Guard, and of course Ellie, because the story is about her and what she has to do. I don't know if you've read it. Haster's saying the Blood Witch sounds great. Let me give you a overview of it. In Veronica's time, which is 200 years from the events that happen here, she's one of the Blood Witches, the actual ones. She's born without red hair. She's a brunette. They can be brown hair, they can be black hair, they could be blonde, white hair like Ellie. They just can't have red. For some reason, in the genetics, that family is predominantly red regardless of who they marry. They always have red hair. The ones who don't are the ones who have the Blood Witch powers, meaning they could touch blood of someone that is alive and it will turn it to gold. And they learn how to hide it. And Veronica's family taught her how to conceal it. They are very good sleight of hand. You never want to play games of chance with them. They're just brilliant. They can hide things in plain sight and you would never know. And she goes into the military to serve young at 16 because their family's based on being medics, because that's one, they help out. They love to help. That's part of the family tradition. But also they're exposed to the best source of being able to gain wealth. They're helping people and they're getting rich off of it, and no one knows except for the High Guard. So her story is the Blood Witch powers are hidden. She doesn't know what they are, and it's how she develops it and the politics of the time that go on. And it's a war story more than any other, except for the Organza. It's a serious war story. And in the end, it comes to a good conclusion. And some of you may have noticed too, this is what happened at the end of Organza. Well, it happens with all of them. I tend to, at the very beginning of each story, give a prologue of something that had happened centuries to millennia before. And then the epilogue is something that happens centuries later or millennia later. And at the end of The Blood Witch, you jump way into the future, and it gives a hint of the lives of Heather and Lake, who, if you go into my playlists and you see Legends of the Trodaire, you'll get chapter 1. I did not give you the prologue yet. So anyway, we've gone 20 minutes. It's 10 minutes longer than I wanted to go. But if you guys don't have any questions, that's fine. If you do, go ahead and ask real quick, because I'm going to wrap this up. But I wanted you to get caught up on Ellie. She's on the brink. She's already made some bad decisions. The attack that was made on Dundrif after her father had already gone through there was a huge mistake. She knows it. She feels it. There's more to come. It's not her first mistake. But it has big repercussions. And I'm sure those of you who followed the story already know. So she's kind of sweating bullets and regretting life, and it will become more and more evident. But let's see, we are on chapter 21, I think. We're probably going to end up, once I get everything organized and laid out, somewhere in the high 50s of chapters. So that gives you an idea. We got a long ways to go, a lot of intrigue, a lot of political play. This is right now, we're still doing background. We haven't quite got into the main story yet. So hang on. It's a good story. And everyone who has been here, thank you very much for coming. I hope you enjoy these things. And comments are always welcome. If you don't have any, that's fine too. Because I say that I use this as an editing tool, and I really do. After I put these together, I've listened to it and read it several different times. And each time I find things that need a little bit of tweaking, a little bit of changing, until I come with the final version. So no, again, thanks for being here. If you want to get caught up, it's in the playlist. As an update, I got one more update, I guess. Echoes of Nor, the fifth book in the Evolution series, it's done. The book cover is almost done. She tells me to keep pestering her, but I don't want to do it. But I need to get back with Paige and have that cover done and get that book available for you. That is the book that takes place about 50 years after Resolution. And I know Purple one of these days will probably want to get it too, because one of her favorite characters are in it. That's Janice Graves. You want sci-fi women that are just kick butt, I got them for you. But that one's close. The Reach is still in editing, and you cannot find it anywhere. I'm not going to allow that one out until it comes out in books, so don't even ask. I have given some people previews or access to privatized playlists, and no, you're not getting that. I've had too many people tell me that that book is just the best thing that they've ever gone through, and I am flattered. Some of them I kind of am starting to believe, um, but when that comes out, I that's the coup de grace for me out of everything. So no, you can't touch that. The only thing that you're going to get is you're going to get it in hardbound form, hopefully within the next 6 months, and then everything else is plugging along. We got to finish Ellie and Legends of Trodaire, and the Blood Witch series will be done. If people want to do fan fic or what have you on it, they're welcome to. But what I have there stands, and it will be official canon. Anything in Evolution that is added to it by anybody else I don't welcome it at all. Evolution is designed for a specific reason. Those of you who, let's say, if you're on the religious side, you know exactly what that religion is, or what the implications are for that story. It makes complete sense to certain people, and that one no one touches. And again, the Reach no one touches. That one took a lot out of me. It was very, very difficult to put together, because I tried to write it to where it would hit, and you guys have heard me say this before, where it would hit all three different learning aspects in almost every paragraph, and sometimes every sentence, where it would either, for people who hear to learn or see to learn or feel to learn, it would hit each one of those aspects as much as possible. So no, those are ones that no one touches. And but anyway, thank you for showing up. Let me see. Chris says, I love the Reach Adega. I can only say I am really, really, really looking forward to finally having a hard copy of it and sitting on my bookshelf. All right. Well, let me see if I could do this real quick. I'm going to share one more thing before we go. He's got me, and my artist is going to hate me for this, but I had some fan art based on this. Let's see if I can find it. No, it's not there. You guys are just having to wait. There was some fan art submitted by someone who really likes this story, and Alan, you know her, May. She gave me a very cool picture, and I told my artist, I said, we're going to use this as a cover, and then she went out and made another one. And since it's dealing with two universes, the fan art's going to be on one side, Paige's art's going to be on the other side, and it will be a depiction of the two universes reaching out to each other. And those of you who know the story, it will make complete sense. But I am very, very pleased. And thank you, everyone, for being here. All the best, Adega, and have a great week ahead, everyone. Those of you, if you have not subscribed to Alan at Co.ag Music, I didn't give Chris a wrench. I'm not going to either. Alan, if you would please post your link or Purple, and get Alan to know he's got the best music on YouTube. And I have gotten more inspiration from his music to write things than I have anyone anywhere else. And he's doing his Halloween stuff right now, and periodically things will pop up. And he does live streams periodically, and they'll pop up. If you miss them, you've missed a week's worth of inspiration. So please get on it. And again, in Purple, always thank you. You've been a big help as well. So I'm going to close out with my limited abilities here, and we'll catch you later.